episode 17 of Griddyiron Gang. What we got for you today is a Week 7 preview. But before we get to that, we got to touch on last night's Monday Night Football game. Denver was on the road in L.A. facing the Chargers. Tough fought game. Some would say it was a defensive battle. But when the offenses are this bad, I don't know how you can call it that. Taking the L 16-19 though to the Chargers. Falling to 2-4 on the season. Chargers, opposite record at 4-2. Russ started 10 for 10, had a touchdown, over 100 yards. And that was pretty much all the offense Denver had for the rest of the night. 3 field goals to account for the rest of their points for the rest of the game. Chargers didn't look a lot better. This game ended up going into overtime. Justin Herbert, 57 pass attempts,
Jeez.
1 interception, no touchdowns, under 250 yards. Man. This game was just abysmal to watch, man. But in the end, Denver turns the ball over. Chargers get a game-winning field goal in overtime. And I'm glad it was over.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. I like this Chargers team. I just hate the coach so much. I think he has some bad calls every game. And, I mean, the consistency of going for it on fourth down, wherever you're at, is, like, getting old. Take the points, bro. Like, I mean, there's no way. I just can't see the guy lasting past this season, like, or into next season. Like, there's just no. I mean, you're letting your team down, and I don't think these guys want to play for the dude. Like, they're starting to lose faith in his decisions, and it's showing. I mean, they're playing down. They played down to Denver's level because they should have handled this team fairly well, and Denver. They're not going nowhere. Like, this team is so bad. Like, Russell, I'm not going to say his time's up, but he's definitely not looking like himself. And that coach, like I say every week, in over his head, needs to be fired. But it's probably going to happen sometime into next season or after next season that he's actually fired.
Yeah, you mentioned before you think they'll give him a little bit of time. I mean, it just looks bad, though.
Yeah, I mean, how much time can you realistically give him and feel comfortable giving him? I mean, especially with the new ownership that came in, those Walmart people. But I mean, dude, like, what's it gonna take? I mean, the product they're putting out there every single week is just you got playmakers on both sides of the ball.
You do.
So what's the deal here? Like, this is a grown man's league, and we're paying you millions. So I don't care if we're 5 games, 6 games into the season. If you're not living up to your paycheck and what we expected of you, like, I got to cut ties, and I got to get this team moving in the right direction quickly because we just paid Russell a ton of money.
That's the thing, too. If you think Russell's the guy and he looks like this because he's under Nathaniel Hackett and not because he's aging, you have to get him out of here before he does hit high 30s. Right now, he's low 30s, mid 30s, whatever you want to consider his age. He doesn't have a lot of time left at elite years, if he does have elite years left in him.
Right.
You don't want to play around with the head coaching spot, man. Denver, I don't know. They might be on the chopping block later. We'll see. Something I want to get into before we get to these picks in Week 7. Baltimore. Made a necessary move to some, picking up a veteran wide receiver, Deshaun Jackson. I have a couple points on this. I mean, one, shout out to Baltimore. You realize the issue. You recognize a hole on your team. And, you're one of the few teams that go out there and you're proactive and you try and fix these issues when they arise, My second point, Deshaun Jackson, Marquise Brown, Snead. I don't think these are the guys that we're going to need in this offense. These little guys that are 5'10", 165, 175 speed guys. I understand that they're good weapons, and that's pretty much what we've been used to. But I think with a guy like Lamar, who can be inaccurate at times and inconsistent, we need a bigger body guy. We see Mark Andrews as his favorite target. A lot of the catches he has aren't clean catches because the passes aren't as accurate as they could be. So if you give me a guy 6'2", 6'3", I think that's more so what Lamar needs. 3, if we are going to get a guy that's not the biggest guy, get one on one of these bad teams who's actually in the league and is producing, like a Brandon Cooks, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin. I'm not a big fan of taking the guy off the couch, but I understand it's a need that we have. But 4, we're a running team. Deshaun Jackson, Marquise Brown, these guys don't want to block anybody.
No.
At the end of the day, I understand what you're doing, but ultimately, I don't think it's a good move.
it was surprising to me. Like I kind of like when I texted you and said like, oh, he's gonna be visiting the Ravens on Tuesday. Like I was kind of making a joke of it because I'm like, there ain't no way they're gonna actually sign this guy. He's 35 years old, 15 years in the league. Like, and the past couple of years he's been having a lot of injury issues. Like, how long is he gonna stay healthy for you? And like to your point, like Lamar passing deep downfield, they ain't always pretty. Like he needs those guys who can be, tough underneath and yards after catch. So, I mean, if I'm the Ravens, like I would have been more comfortable kind of playing it out and throwing some good money at OBJ like in November when he's healthy. So that's the move I would have rather seen from them. But I mean, is he taking a veteran's minimum? I mean, you're still gonna have money to throw around at some point? Because I mean, what is this dude gonna bring to the table? I mean, it just doesn't seem like a move that's really gonna propel you anywhere.
I don't know. After that loss, I was texting motherfuckers like, we need to get OBJ. I'll take goddamn AB. Call up Terrell Owens. Like, if Randy wants to come off set, we'll take somebody. But a day removed, 2 days removed from the loss, no, I wouldn't take any of those guys, obviously. I don't feel too great about this pickup either.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. You guys, it seems like you guys have a type that you like at wide receiver based on what you guys go after. And, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's paying off. But, you guys should be, like I said, 6-0 right now is what I think you guys should be. And it's I know it's heartbreaking when it's your squad doing letdowns 3 games this season, but still need a little bit more out of Lamar, obviously. Keep those turnovers to a minimum, especially crucial ones. And I mean, yeah, you love to have a guy like Mark Andrews to throw to, but you can't realistically run your offense through like a number 1 tight end. Like it's just, I know like you can do it, but you'd rather see a number 1 guy on the outside and then that number 2 guy be a guy like Kelsey or Mark Andrews.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, what can you say about it? It's just, I mean, like you said though, like they are a team that they realize what they're lacking and they go out and address it and they don't waste time doing it. So that's a credit to them. It's just sometimes the moves they make don't pay off.
Moving on to week 7, 4 teams on the bye: Buffalo Bills, your Vikings, Philadelphia, and the defending champs, Los Angeles Rams. What was this? A combined 19-5. So a lot of good teams that are going to be sitting out this week. Getting to our first game, Thursday Night Football. We have the New Orleans Saints on the road at 2-4, and Arizona, who is also 2-4. The story in this one: D-Hop returns.
D-Hop.
I don't think it's going to help, though, man. Saints, I got them in this one, going away.
I was going back and forth, honestly, and it was because of the D-Hop thing. But you're going to have Olave back. You might still be missing, Juice. You might still be missing Michael Thomas, and I think Lattimore. But at the end of the day, the way the Saints have been playing, I trust them a hell of a lot more than I do this Cardinals team.
No question.
So I gotta take the Saints, especially if this is gonna be your typical ugly Thursday night football game. I definitely trust the Saints coming out on top in those type of games.
No question. Arizona has no run game outside of Kyler Murray. I think he was 10 for 100 last game, and that's pretty much all the Cardinals had to show for that aspect of the game. D-Hop comes back, but I don't know what their chemistry is going to be like. Marquise Brown goes down. Robbie Anderson's probably going to be your number 2.
And he ain't even going to play this week.
Oh, he's not playing at all?
It's too short of a week of getting traded.
So,
You're not going to have much of the playbook down. So, I mean, you could probably go out there and run a couple routes that they throw at you for this 3 days. But realistically, you just played a game Sunday in Carolina. For Carolina.
Half a game.
But but then you get traded right after the game pretty much. And then you're expected to play a Thursday night game for your new team. I just don't see
that is a quick turnaround.
I don't see that happening because you got to get at least some acclimation with the playbook and your quarterback and he's gonna make his debut against the Vikings the following week.
You guys might be in for a treat then. We'll see. But we'll touch on that when we get to it. We both got the Saints this game then?
Yeah.
Do you know when Hard Knocks drops?
I want to say November sometime.
Okay. Do you know if that starts from this week or does it start? Because that's what I thought I heard. It starts from week 7.
Oh, man. I honestly... It would, yeah.
If it drops in November, it might.
So has to be
a week or two behind.
Yeah.
Okay. So that'll be fun to see. Moving on to our noon games. We have the Colts, 3-2-1 on the road in Tennessee to face the Titans at 3-2. This is a fight for number 1 in the AFC South. You know, I'm probably going to say this every week until they really convince me, but I do not believe in the Colts, so I'm going to have to go with the Titans at home in this one.
Yeah, this is an easy one for me. I don't trust the Colts in any way, shape, or form, so I'm rolling with Tennessee. Derrick Henry, I like at this point in their careers, I like Tannehill more than I like Matt Ryan. I trust him more, so yeah, this is Tennessee for me, and it's gonna take some major convincing for the Colts to for me to feel comfortable picking them in any sort of game.
Especially when you're going against a team that has this kind of identity. I mean, the Colts don't have the offensive line we're used to, and Jeffrey Simons is probably the best defensive tackle outside of Aaron Donald. So right. I think he's going to wreak some havoc on this team. Matt Ryan didn't hit the turf once last week. I think that's going to change this week. You couple that with the attacker Derrick Henry, and the ground and pound offense is going to wear you down.
Yep.
Tennessee's going to go ahead and take this one running away. Our next division game at noon, we have Tampa Bay at 3-3 on the road at Carolina, 1-5. Simply put, Tom ain't going out like that, man.
Oh no, this is a get back game for sure, or get right game. I'm slowly kind of losing confidence in this Tampa Bay team, but at the end of the day, it's Tom Brady. He does not. He don't go out like that, like you said. Like he doesn't fuck around. Like it's let's get back to work. Let's get back to the drawing board. And I would hate to be the team going up against them this week. So I mean, I got to go Tampa Bay.
You got embarrassed last week against a team that could be considered as the worst team in the league in Pittsburgh. Yeah. You're playing another one in Carolina, a team that we eliminated last week from playoff contention. There's no way Tom was going to lose back-to-back games again to teams of this caliber.
Especially with the turmoil that team's going through right now. Like, it's ugly all the way across the board. So if Tampa was to lose a game like this, I'm out on them the whole season.
Yeah. As far as Super Bowl goes, there would be no question in my mind that they would not be there. I'm not even going to say that because we know Tom is a guy who likes to get his guys ready by November and then they make their run at that time.
Right. But I just wouldn't feel comfortable saying, hey, I believe Tampa Bay is a top NFC team, let alone a top team in the league where they can go up against the Bills or the Chiefs or the Eagles and take it.
At that time, for sure. There'd be no question that they are not in that conversation. Browns, 2-4 at the Ravens, 3-3.
Take it away.
You want me to take it away? Man, oh man. Browns are a team that started the season. They probably gave away a lot of wins too. So this is two teams that probably aren't as bad as their record shows, but if it comes down to it, I got to go quarterback, and I'm going to trust Lamar over Jacoby.
Oh, for sure.
Even though Lamar makes some bonehead mistakes, timely turnovers, costly turnovers, so does Jacoby. So I think all around, we have a better team. We have some better guys at skill positions. This Cleveland team has been underwhelming defensively. I think they're pretty bad when I thought they were going to be one of the better defenses this year. So I think we're going to take advantage of that, bounce back, and finally get on track, man.
Yeah, this game for me is I'm going Baltimore, and I'm going to go as far as saying this is going to be a game that's a season turnaround one for you, like where you not saying, I mean, you're 3-3, so there's not much to like turn around in the sense of, going from 0-6 or like, you know what I mean? But like it's a turnaround in the sense where it's your team's getting fed up with the shit you've been doing. The players are sick of it. They're coming together this week in practice and saying, let's get our fucking shit together. What better time to do it than against a team in our division against the Browns? So let's put it, I'm going out of my way and I'm saying this is going to be a runaway game for Baltimore.
We appreciate that. I'll let the guys know. One of your teams, Packers at 3-3 on the road at the Commanders at 2-4. Rodgers ain't going out like that either.
This is
Similar to that Tom conversation. I can say all the same things here. The team looks bad, but by November, December, that's when they were going to want to get it rolling. And
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers ain't going to lose 2 games back to back to teams of this caliber.
Bro, and you're playing the Commanders. Like,
And a backup quarterback.
this is the ultimate get right game. Like, this is the ultimate. You're playing the damn Washington Commanders who just barely beat the Bears, and they're worse than the Bears. Like, if you want a game where you can, kind of convince your fans that you're back, this would be it. But at the same time, you still got a lot of question marks. I don't feel comfortable with you, picking you all the time throughout the season as it goes. But this is a game I'm confident where the Packers, they could go out and they could kind of fool you in a sense where, like, oh, the Packers are back. They won by 21 points. Like, and everyone's hopping back on the bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
So this is that type of game I'm seeing from them. So I got to go Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Yeah, I think once they win this game, we're going to feel similar about how we felt after the Rams beating Panthers last week. But I think if you really look at those games, you're not confident in those teams going forward.
No.
So I got the Packers winning this one by about the same score, 24-10-ish. But it ain't going to look good, and I'm not going to feel good about it.
No. And you know what? Taylor Heineke, I believe, played them fairly well.
He's
last
capable.
Year. Like, he's not a guy you should sleep on. Like, he's not like he's not a bona fide starting quarterback in this league. But when his number's called, I mean, I think he's got a good rapport with Terry McLaurin. So I wouldn't be surprised if Terry has a show-out game this week.
I can't wait for that. I think Heineke, if you gave him 17 starts, he'd probably have 5 really good games for that caliber of a quarterback.
And the thing is like he uses his legs a lot better than Wentz can.
Mm-hmm.
He's shown like he's started before for this team.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the guys believed in him.
I feel
too.
like these guys feel comfortable with him starting
For sure.
So I think don't be fooled. Like if they come out, like don't be shocked if they come out and actually play the Packers really tough.
I wouldn't be. I think this team is still very talented. Carson Wentz was holding them back, but the defense is holding them back too. But this Packers offense isn't going to take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Depends on how you look at it. Could be a close game, could be a blowout. But I expect the Packers to really bounce back if they're who we think they could be.
Yeah.
Giants at 5-1 on the road in Jacksonville, taking on the Jaguars at 2-4. I think this game is going to be a little closer than most people would expect. I kind of want to go Jacksonville, and I think I will.
You read my mind.
Wow.
This is a game where
I like it.
this is a game where I just think that the New York hype comes to a halt for them a little bit, and I mean, it's kind of a get back game for Jacksonville in a sense too. They just laid a clunker against their division rival, and I mean, teams that typically come from the Midwest or the Northeast go down to Florida. They have to battle that heat, and it's not an easy thing to do. So I think, I kind of have a feeling in my gut that this is going to be one of those Daniel Jones games that we've come to expect, where it's just a clunker, man. Like it's
A big Trey Walker game, maybe, finally.
that, and I just feel like I think this Jacksonville. I think I'm expecting a really good game from Trevor Lawrence and his wideouts. I mean, they still got ETN and James Robinson. I don't know if he's playing yet though.
I don't think he played last week. I'm not sure. I know he had a fuck ton of rush hours.
Regardless,
last week,
Jacksonville has shown at the beginning of the year that they can beat quality teams.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sold on the Giants being that type of quality team. And I mean, maybe they'll prove me wrong again and get to 6-1. But I just at some point there's got to be one of those typical Giants losses where they're just like, well, we didn't show up. And I think, going to Jacksonville, this feels like one of those games. I just feel like Jacksonville can come out on top. It'll be a close game, but Jacksonville will get it at the end, maybe by, a field goal at the, as the clock runs out. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling a big Saquon game either. So
Fair enough. New York's had, some good bounces this year. They stop Aaron Rodgers on the goal line. They get timely turnovers against Baltimore. So they could easily be 3-3 on the year.
Yeah, and I just think, I think Dougie P is going to have a really good game plan this week against this team, because all you really got to do is load the box, shut Saquon down. They got no weapons on the outside. You got to make Daniel Jones beat you with his arm, and he's not capable of doing that ever so often. Like it's slim pickings when it comes to him beating you with his arm.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville is a team that you cannot count them out. They play everyone tough. They're in every game, and I think they're definitely capable of beating this Giants team.
Yeah, they're in every game, similar to this team right here. Atlanta Falcons at 3-3 on the road in Cincinnati, facing the Bengals, also 3-3. I'm going to go with the upset on this one, Atlanta Falcons.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, they've been battling teams, and so I wouldn't be surprised. But it being in Cincinnati, I don't trust the Falcons when they travel. So I got to go Cincinnati and Joe Burrow. I think they definitely, in my eyes, they'll beat the Falcons by at least 10 compared to the other NFC South team that they just beat by 4 in the Saints. But I don't see the Falcons going into Cincy and overtaking them. This has got to be a Cincy game for me.
Tough game in New Orleans, emotional game, 30-26. So definitely wasn't easy at all. I don't know. I think those guys come back to earth. Some people might think that they found their stride. We talked about it. This is when they caught it last year, but I just don't see it in this team right now. They did have a good game against New Orleans, but I'm going to need to see some more consistency for them to,
Is Cordero back this week?
No. For me to feel confident in Cincinnati, but Atlanta's going to be right there at the end of the game, just like they always are every week. And I don't have faith in Cincinnati closing these games out like I did last year. So
yeah, I wouldn't say I do either. I still, it's just something about a Mariota-led Falcons team that I just can't get on board with, especially when you don't have Cordero, who's your star power on offense. You're not showcasing Kyle Pitts. Drake London's having quality games, but he hasn't had that full breakout yet. So I mean, they're solid on defense, but it's just they're still a team that I feel like we kind of know what they are, and they're not a team that you have to. I mean, you have to obviously game plan against them, as best you can, but they're not a team you see on your schedule, especially at this point in the year, and be like, damn, like they could wipe the floor with us. This Cincinnati team's got too many quality players on it to go out like that against a team like the Falcons.
Fair enough. Defending AFC champion, so I mean, heart of a champion, I guess, if you want to use that.
Yeah, I mean,
thought process or whatever you want to call it.
But I need to see. I mean, I would like to see another big game out of Jamar Chase. So, I mean, the line is starting to click. I think more and more. But I mean, there's so many weapons on the outside for Joe Burrow that it's just like start putting it together and showing us that why you were in that Super Bowl hunt last year. Like, so I mean, I got to go Cincinnati this week though.
Lions at 1-4 on the road in Dallas at 4-2. Dak is back. He's going to make his return, and I think he's going to go ahead and get that W as well.
Yeah, I got the Cowboys in this one. This was a fairly easy one for me. I think the bye came at the right time for this Lions team after what they've been through the first 5 games that they've gone through. But don't get me wrong, this is a Lions team that can definitely go in and compete with this Cowboys team. They showed it against Philly. I mean, they damn near beat the Vikings. They've been in every game pretty much except for the one in
New
England. So, and I think that was kind of just a major letdown game for them. They didn't play up to their standards, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is a closer game. But I still feel like this is a game where Dallas has a bad taste in their mouth from going to Philly and losing that one the way they did. Dak's back. He wants to prove why this is his job to keep. And this is it's a tough game for the Lions to come back and get back on track with.
Yeah, I do think they had a good bye, getting that ass whooping at New England, getting a chance to regroup. But coming back, having to play this Dallas defense after they lost in prime time to Philly,
Yeah.
they're going to be out for blood. So,
Yeah.
that's the gift and the curse for that bye. You get time to prepare, but then you get a team coming off of L, really looking to take your head off. So, Detroit, like you said, though, I think it's going to be closer than people expect. This offense is high flying, and the defense is great on the Dallas side. So, it's going to be a good contrast, and it'll be fun to watch for sure. Afternoon games, we have the surprising Jets at 4-2 on the road at Denver, 2-4, surprising in their own way. And I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the trend, man. Jets at 5-2.
I got the Jets as well. I just don't trust this Denver team. They look awful. I don't trust the coach. Russ is battling some sort of hamstring thing going after this last game. I mean,
so are all these injuries true? Hamstring? What was the other one?
I think they're playing so bad that there's a bunch of excuses coming out right now that they're just we're beat up, we're dinged up, like
everybody.
Give me a break. Like, this is the NFL, bro. And how often do you ever hear about Russell complaining about a hamstring or any injury? He goes out there and he balls. So he's had a major sprained ankle, sprained foot before, and he's played through it in one big games. This Denver team is just shitting the bed in major ways, and I like this ascending Jets team.
Yeah, this ascending Jets team is looking really good. Everything looks good right now except for the quarterback. If he can get, maybe double his yardage up, keep his turnovers down like he has been, this team is going to be real dangerous in a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, man, there's a lot of good things going on with, the Buffalo, New Jersey area with these teams. I mean, this is what they expect out of their football teams. And that's a major sports market where those fans do not mess around. Like, they love their squads, whether it's basketball, football, baseball. Like, they're diehards out there. And they've been through shitty times with these New Jersey teams. And now it's starting to turn around and look brighter days ahead. So, I think this is like one of those games where if the Jets win, that it kind of puts a stamp on their season and they're feeling even more confident, and that's a dangerous team to face.
Hell yeah. 2 one-win teams facing each other next. We have the Texans at 1-3-1 on the road in Vegas, facing the Raiders at 1-3 or 1-4, excuse me, coming off a bye. I'm gonna have to go with the Raiders in this one.
Oh, for sure. This is the Raiders I'm Raiders all the way on this one, and
this is do or die right here.
You got to win this game to have any shot at the playoffs. Like, there, no questions asked. And I think their bye came at the really perfect time.
Yes,
like,
indeed.
They can go back to the drawing board, kind of get things in order, change some things up. But I think you're going to see a little bit more of a rejuvenation out of this offense with Carr and Adams and Waller. Hopefully he's starting to get healthier. But, and Renfro after he took that big shot at the end of the game against the Chiefs. But, yeah, I think more so than anything, I think the Lions and the Raiders had the perfect buys for where they're at in their season. Just kind of going back to the drawing board. But going up against this Houston team, the Raiders should, in reality, have no problem taking care of business.
Seahawks at 3-3 on the road at the Chargers, 4-2. Again, you know how I'm rocking, man. I do not trust the Chargers. I put your coach on the hot seat last week, and I'm going with Geno Smith until somebody can cool this man down. Him and Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I like those weapons right now.
Yeah, people were you were kind of surprised I had him at 5 wins coming into the season, and
shocked, actually.
And now I'm kind of backtracking, even though they're playing fairly well. I still believe the Chargers are the better team, and I'm going to take the Chargers.
The Chargers are the better team.
They should win this game, and there needs to come a point in this season where they get a win like they should against Seattle and do it fairly convincingly. Whether the score is close or not, they should go out there and make big plays against this team. And that's on defense and on offense. I mean, we got to stop giving them the excuse of, Keenan Allen's out, or stuff along those lines. And they just got to go out there and show it. And I mean, Especially this defense. I mean, I haven't heard much of Khalil Mack's name at all this year.
I don't think I've heard it once yet.
And that's a scary thing, like for me. Like you're not washed up. You're not a bad player yet. Like, where are you? Like, show us something. Like, be that perennial pass rusher that we've come to know. And so, I think this is kind of one of those games where they played down to Denver this past week, and now they got to go out there and be the better team against Seattle. And I think they do that.
They're almost like the AFC Vikings in a way. They kind of, you guys are always really damn talented, and it's always something. The coach, players are hurt, players aren't performing, and you just underachieve. But I can see why you want to take the Chargers in this game. I'm gonna have to go Seattle though. Chargers are definitely the better team though, top to bottom.
For sure.
Seattle's just playing better, and that's what I'm gonna have to rock with for this one. Chiefs at 4-2 on the road at San Francisco, playing the 49ers at 3-3. You already know how I'm rocking. Patrick Mahomes having a bounce back game. He was my MVP pick. He's not going to lose 2 games in a row at all this year.
Yeah.
Even though the San Francisco's defense is really good, they are dealing with a lot of injuries right now, and I think Mahomes is going to take advantage of that. Him and Kelsey, him and Hardman, him and Juju. They got to get that running game going. Hopefully they can do it, sometime soon. This probably isn't the game for it, even though the San Francisco defense is banged up. But you really have to get that run game going. That was pretty much the difference in the game against the Bills. They were willing to run the ball. You guys were not. And when you weren't effective. So
right.
Figure that out. Maybe not this week, but I got you this week anyway.
Yeah, I got Kansas City. This is a game where I just think that it's Patty Mahomes versus Jimmy G. And,
easy money.
I'm putting my money on Patrick Mahomes doing more against that 49ers defense than Jimmy G is even against this Chiefs defense. Like this Chiefs team is overall just a much better team than the 49ers, and they're coming from the AFC, which is a lot more loaded than the NFC. So they have the ability to overcome a lot more in critical situations, and even if it ends up being a close game, like they're built to overcome tough times. So if 49ers are able to keep it close, I'm still going to have confidence in choosing this this Chiefs team, and Patrick Mahomes, the way he's able to lead his teams in quick striking drives at the end of games. And I just, even though I do somewhat believe in Jimmy G and how he's able to lead that 49ers team for how they're built, I just don't think they have the firepower to keep up with this Chiefs team.
I agree with that. I think they will keep it close, but ultimately the Chiefs will pull away at the end because of the firepower and probably because of a turnover. Chiefs, I think they did hold their own defensively against the Bills this past week. 49ers have a completely different type of offense and something that I don't know if the Chiefs will be able to stop. So that's really the main reason why I think this game isn't going to be a blowout right away.
I think because the Chiefs defense can be pretty leaky at times. If the 49ers are able to get their run game going the way they like to, it's going to be a close game.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're not, and the Chiefs are able to hold them in check, then this could be a game where it's not necessarily a blowout, but it's a very convincing win.
Sunday Night Football, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 2-4 on the road at Miami at 3-3. This game, I don't believe in Pickett if he comes back. I'm not going to believe in Trubisky. I think Tua's going to make his return.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a game too early. I don't know. It's not my call. I'm going to go with Miami, though, in this heat. You mentioned it earlier. Teams that got to travel down there. It was goddamn 112 degrees. In the
sideline differences were crazy.
Middle of October, it was 112 degrees. You got to come back here. It's fucking 45. I'm sure it's the same in Pittsburgh. Yeah. It ain't warm out there. So I think that's going to be a big difference in this game, a big factor in this game. Tomlin made some magic last week. It's going to be tough to do it 2 weeks in a row against an offense like this.
Yeah, I'm same boat as you. I got Miami, and the big reason is I read that Tua is planning on making his return this week and preparing as if he is starting. So that's the big key factor for me is Tua coming back to that team, because the way they're playing with him as quarterback and leading them, they're a damn good team, and they've proven that so far. They're 500. I mean, it's a long season still. They're going to be in it for throughout the season for the playoff race. So And you see these primetime games they have when they have it down in Miami. It seems like teams can't go down there and beat them. I mean,
it's crazy.
The Ravens last year went down, and we expected a blowout for the Ravens, and it just was.
It's the second time you brought that up.
It was one of those games where I was just completely shocked because the Miami team looked like.
That score wasn't even. It was like 22-10 or something, but it felt like it was 35.
The way that the game was just going was just crazy. And the way it started out, it was just like this doesn't feel like the normal Miami team. Like so
sick.
But in this case, the Steelers, they had a good game, good upset last week, but they're not going to be able to sustain that type of play throughout the season with just, especially if you're going to be flipping quarterbacks with injuries and all this stuff like. Mm-hmm. And I still believe that the trend is now they're 1-8 now without TJ Watt, and that's a big trend that you see happening. Like they're not going to play out of their minds like they did against Tom last week consistently, especially without TJ. So I'm fairly confident in my pick with Miami this week. I just think that Miami, they lost to the Vikings, and it was an overall kind of ugly game, but people like Miami's not a bad team. Mm-hmm. Like they have good depth with their quarterbacks. Not saying I completely trust Teddy or Skyler over Tua, but they're capable quarterbacks to keep that train rolling. So, and I still, for the love of God, fear Tyreek and Jalen on the outside. And they have more than capable defense, and they kind of showed up last week against the Vikings and shut down for quite a bit in that game. Jefferson, Thielen, and KJ. I mean, we had 10 3 and outs, so that's a credit to their defense too. You can't just go in and completely blame the game plan that the Vikings had, or like we weren't able to do anything. They made plays, mm-hmm. And so this isn't a bad Miami team. I like this team, so I got Miami this week.
Last game, Monday Night Football. Chicago Bears at 2-4. On the road at the Patriots at 3-3. I think this one is going to be easy, man. We know what Bill likes to do. Take away your best option, let your worst option, try and beat them. It's going to be an ugly game for Justin Fields, man. If you have any hope in Justin Fields, do yourself a favor and do not watch this game. You want to keep that hope going forward. This is going to be easy work for the New England Patriots.
Especially a primetime game in Foxborough. Like, we saw what Justin did on primetime Thursday night. This Bears team is atrocious. And I'm not saying New England is the New England of old, but they have a different vibe to them and a new vibe to them where it's, especially with Zappy at quarterback, they're kind of a sneaky, scary team. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a game that New England kind of gets their season rolling a little bit because it's a game you should win very convincingly. And Bill's going to outcoach the hell. I mean, he's going to outcoach the hell out of Matt Eberflus or whatever his name is. Like, I wouldn't want to be a rookie head coach going against Bill Belichick in primetime.
No, that's the last place you want to be, especially after losing the game in primetime the week prior. Nobody's going to believe in you. Nobody's expecting anything of you. I don't know, man. Tough place to be. I guess if nobody's believing and nobody's expecting in you, the pressure's off, but you don't want to go out here and lose by 35 on national TV.
No.
I mean, Bill Belichick, the pressure's not off for him. Pressure's on. Hot seat's on.
He's cool, calm, and collected, bro. Like, he knows what to expect. He knows every situation and scenario throughout a game to prepare for. So, and he knows how to make life a living hell for quarterbacks like Justin Fields.
It's going to be ugly.
When he knows that a quarterback does not have weapons that he can trust and that he still has vision issues, seeing the field, like trying to use his legs too much, you're in for a rude awakening.
If you have a good coach, there's so much you can do. Because Bill, he's going to take away the run. He's going to put his best DB, who he has a rookie DB who's really good. Put him on Mooney, who's probably going to be your first option most times. You're not going to be able to make that second read because we have a good defense. We're probably going to be able to get to you.
Yep.
It's just going to be a long night for Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears offense, man. Hopefully the defense can do something to keep them in the game because, they do have some talent on that side of the ball. And I wouldn't, completely give up on this team yet, but this is going to be a tough one in my estimation.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, Time for some grave diggers. Last week, we eliminated 2 teams from playoff contention, Carolina Panthers and the Houston Texans. Do you have a team that is out of playoff contention for you now?
There's some ones there's different ways I can go with this.
I got a couple teams here too.
And for me, both of them played Thursday night.
Okay.
So I'll just say the Bears because
Okay.
I mean they're definitely not making the playoffs.
For me, my first 2 teams on this list also played Thursday night, so I'll take the other one. Commanders are out of here. You have the head coach calling out the quarterback. That's always the first. That's always the first sign that things are going bad. Quarterback gets hurt. It usually always seems to happen that way. My quarterback sucks,
And it's
now
a
he's
finger
hurt.
injury.
Yeah, finger injury. Like, what a weak injury. I've had a couple of those. You feel like a bitch. It sucks, but it is what it is. It's a bone. It's a broken bone. You can't play with it.
Especially if it's your throwing hand.
Yeah,
I mean,
it sucks.
It
sucks.
But I think it could be, with Heineke coming in and having familiarity with these guys, and it might be a blessing in disguise it happened, because
I think so.
I think there's a definite possibility that Wentz doesn't get his job back when he comes back.
If you're out of playoff contention, I don't see why you would give him his job back. Let Heineke play, and I honestly think you let the young guy play. I cannot remember his name. Sam Howell.
Yeah.
I think you let him play at some point in the season. You don't have any playoff aspirations if you lose this game to the Bears. I mean, to who do the Commanders play this week?
We just said
If you lose this game to the God dang
Green Bay.
So yeah. That's my team for the week.
And I think, I mean, it was fairly obvious when they played in that outcome of the game last Thursday. I was like, these 2 teams got to be out of here. And
I was like, I need to see something terrible and some catastrophic injuries for me to.
It was so bad that I turned it off and I started watching the new Halloween movie, which was even worse. So I mean, that's what that has. I mean, that tells you that right there. But yeah, I think, I mean, and you just drafted Sam Howell, so at some point with how your season's going, you got to get him some reps if you think he's going to be able to be your starter at some point down the road,
for sure.
And I believe I think Ron Rivera might kind of feel the way I'm feeling about being a blessing in disguise that Wentz is injured.
He does.
So I think he might,
and he should.
He might have a little bit more confidence in his team now going forward without Wentz and having that kind of sideshow that's going on with, Wentz just seems to bring to the teams that he's on. He's a sideshow. It's a joke. And I don't even think I can give him I've been saying he's kind of like the new Ryan Fitzpatrick, journeyman, but I don't even think I can give him that much credit anymore.
Nah, Fitzpatrick got way more respect than that guy does.
So his career might just be over soon. It's that simple. I don't think people might bring him in to be a backup, but his starting days are completely over.
He might get one more gig, but that team will also be disappointed. And then after that, yeah.
I feel like if you want to bring him in to be your starter, you're a team that is low-key just trying to tank.
You think he's that bad? Ah, man.
There's nothing good that he doesn't read the field well, which is it's so bad that it's just, I mean, he throws it into the ground half the time at the feet of players. He overthrows. There's no timing whatsoever wherever he goes. It's just bad.
No feel for the game.
Yeah, no feel. And he had some nice games for Indy last year, but at the end of the day, he completely shit the bed and ruined playoff aspirations for them. They couldn't go anywhere with him. And that's just a telltale sign of what he is as a quarterback. And I just can't see him. I definitely think he's got more opportunities as a backup, and I don't know. It's just, if he were to ever to come to the Vikings, I'd be disappointed because I couldn't even trust him as a backup. Yeah, he might get you 1 or 2 victories that you feel good about, but at the end of the day, I don't think players like playing for him, especially wide receivers. I mean, look, you got to feel bad for Terry McLaurin.
I feel bad for a lot of these guys that are in situations like this.
And you know what? It's not just Wentz. Quarterback play all around has been very poor this year.
It's been terrible. There's probably been 4 or 5 consistent good quarterbacks, if that.
Yeah.
Coming into the season, I for sure thought this was the best time we were in as far as quarterback talent goes. We had 12 really good ones, 14 that I'd be like, okay, I'm fine if those guys are on my team.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, wow, I'm cool with what I got, and I'm not trading Lamar for anything right now after what I've been seeing.
No, you can't. And even though he has his issues, he performs better than most of these guys.
Yeah.
So and that's a credit to him and like being able to run the ball and just But with Lamar, like he's very good at reading the field. He just his accuracy is just not there. He might not have the touch on some passes. I mean, he overshoots some guys, but at the end of the day, with how that team is built, I feel very confident with Lamar as my quarterback. Like number one, he's a great leader. Like guys love him in the locker room. So it's just he's got that dog mentality, and that's what I love about Lamar. So, but just overall, it's just the NFL has major issues when it comes to quarterback play, and it's not going to get any better with this draft. I don't think. I'm very skeptical on the talent that's coming out of it. I mean, the talent might be good, but just the way these players are being coached in college and prepared for the NFL, it seems like it's getting worse each season.
The college game is so different from the NFL. We talked about it a lot. These Ohio State quarterbacks, especially.
Man, CJ Stroud's the next bust.
You said it. I didn't say it. But we've seen it enough, man. And a lot of these college systems are a lot of spread offenses. One read, if he's not there, my guy can usually take off and run. That's just not what the game is in the NFL. It's 2-3 reads. Your first guy's not going to be there all the time. And I think that's where a lot of these guys have struggles coming into the league. I think Justin Fields is a prime example of that.
He's a very prime example because he's when I say he doesn't read the field well, he's not trusting his receivers and the very tight opening of windows and the timing of those windows are so short.
Anticipation.
Like it's just he doesn't trust anyone. And it's like he'll cock back and be ready to let it loose, but he pats the ball too long, and it's just it's disheartening to see because he's got all the talent in the world, and he can be one of the top quarterbacks in this league if he puts it all together. But that's what he's got to go into this next offseason. I don't know if he's got to get a certain QB coach out there to train him or whatever the case may be, but he's got to be in that playbook 24/7. He's got to be training, he's got to be throwing hundreds, if not thousands, of footballs this offseason and getting his receivers together. I mean, hopefully they bring in some more talent for wide receiver in Chicago, but he's got to be a leader and bring those guys together this offseason and run routes and get that timing down and trust those guys because it's just not there right now.
Final thoughts?
Not much, man. Give us your picks in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe. It's been a crazy season so far, and I think we're nowhere near the end of it. It's gonna get even crazier as we go on. And
yeah, I'm gonna be stressed too.
I mean, I was 5-9 in picks last week. You were 7-7. Picks are hard this year. Mm-hmm. Like it's just I don't have a good read on a lot of these teams right now because they look bad one week, but then they play out of their minds the next, and you don't expect it. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, this is why football is fun because it's any given Sunday. Like it can be frustrating when you're in a position like this, trying to make picks, and
you don't know what factors into that. Travel, the time you play, the day you play.
Bro,
the weather,
there's so much that goes into it. I mean, you look like when the Vikings played this past weekend, they're showing, I mean, just the way they have these stadiums set up, like down south. Like, they purposely built that stadium in Miami so that the sun doesn't hit that sideline.
That's so cheating.
It's 30 degrees cooler on their sideline compared to ours, and we're having to bring these cooling benches on our sideline, this shade thing that we're putting over the players on the bench. It's just like they do so much to go out of their way to get an advantage, and it's just little things like that add up and can be a deciding factor in the game, and we don't realize it, as fans most of the time. So we just go out and see, oh, they got more talent, they got less talent, I'm picking this team, and that's not always what it is, because a lot of times the better teams don't win on Sundays.
Yeah, and to your Heat point, we never talk about that. Oh, Minnesota has to go to Miami in the summer. We always talk about this team has to go to Green Bay in the winter. This team has to go to Buffalo. And that Heat's a different monster, too. It's hard to breathe.
It's hard to breathe, bro. I mean, and they even talk about it when teams go to Denver. I mean, you're elevated, bro. Like, the oxygen is just hard to, get into your lungs. It's just, it's especially when you have outdoor stadiums.
New Mexico too, when they play there.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's why I feel like, you just heard about Tennessee getting approved for a $2 billion dome stadium. They're going to be moving to a dome stadium down in Tennessee. A lot of these teams are shifting that way. Even Chicago is wanting a dome stadium, and
that'll be crazy.
And it's like, part of me loves the outdoor football aspect, especially with colder weather and all that stuff. But I know that NFL players would rather play in a controlled climate.
Is this injury driven or offense driven?
I'm not sure, man. I think it has a sense to me that it's offense driven, because the NFL wants to attract more fans, and
you think it's so they can have the Super Bowl in more places?
I feel like that's part of it too. But at the same time, you got to look at it. Even though Minnesota's got a nice ass indoor stadium, we had the Super Bowl here one year, and it's not coming back anytime soon, because analysts like Stephen A. Smith and no one wants to come here during that time of the year. It's too cold, and people they want the warm weather, and that's all well and fine. But cold is a part of football. It always has been. And playing in the snow, playing in the rain, those are fun games. But as a player, it is tough as shit to play in.
Yeah, it is.
And those hits hurt.
All the hits in the cold are ridiculous. There's nothing like it.
So it's going to be weird if Chicago does end up moving and getting a dome stadium. That's going to be one of the weirder ones, because they've always had a history of outdoor cold football, just like Green Bay. If Green Bay ever went indoor, that would be the craziest thing ever. Like, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, man, that wouldn't feel right at all. I need to see that grass beat up, holes in the ground.
You got to see the fans and the stands bundled up. Like,
you need to see that, man.
That's football, bro.
Otherwise, in 50 years, you're gonna try and show that shit to your kids. They're gonna be like, "It was never like that. Look at this turf. It's 80 degrees in here. What are you talking about, Grandpa?" Nah, man, we was out here negative 10 degrees watching my team lose.
Yeah, 10-7. Yeah,
you had to be there. That's it for me, man. We got Boston against Philly on the screen, 98-92 early in the fourth. You know what it is tonight. Lakers taking on the champs Warriors, but it's Laker time, baby.
All right,
do it for me. What you got?
That's it, bro. Until next time.
Appreciate y'all. Peace.